Hey, welcome to CSL TV, everybody. I'm Alex Bastiavansky with Phil Iannitti, the CSL Director of Youth Development. Phil, welcome back, man.
Good to be here.
Yeah, for years we've done the CSL This Week. This year we're doing CSL TV on the web to talk to you about obviously things going on within the Canadian Soccer League, and we figure it's a perfect time to start off now. Mid-season report as to what's happening so far in the league this year, Phil. And man, it's been interesting so far, hasn't it?
It has been some big surprises and exciting games out there, and some new faces with some new clubs.
In some ways, like the usual suspects. In other ways, just some stuff that blows the mind. Let's start off with, the standings are obviously changing every day, so we're just showing right now through CanadianSoccerLeague.com how the standings currently are. Those will be changing as of this weekend, but York Region Shooters on top with 22 points. York, perennial powerhouse, of course. They're always up near the top. Last year, you and I talked about on the show a lot the fact that something that hurt York, fantastic defense, very, very tight defensively. Their offense, they couldn't quite get it into gear, a very low goal scoring total. This year, they're deadly because lowest amount allowed in the entire CSL, and one of the top goal-scoring clubs in the league as well.
Well, they did a big acquisition over the winter season, and they brought in a guy by the name of West, and
Richard West.
He's been huge for them. Rich West, brings a huge dynamic to the team, opens up space for Katie and Lakey and everyone else on the other field to create opportunities. And we always know about their defense. They always had a strong defense, which always gave them a chance to get into championships and a playoff team. Now all of a sudden you're seeing the success because they're putting the ball in the back of the net, and they're right now up there in the top of the standings with a bunch of teams.
And Des Humphrey still bringing it after all this time too.
Always.
The ageless wonder, I like to call him.
He's quality.
Now, to the biggest surprise of the year, I think we can unquestionably say so far, a team that last year, what was their total last year? They won 4 wins, 2012. This year they've already got 7. Currently tied for first place, Kingston FC.
Yeah, credit goes out to the coaching staff, ownership for putting a great program together. This team was ready right from the start of the season. They came in fit, a lot of their guys prepared, thumping of Brampton in the first game, talking to a lot of players.
It was a big eye-opener, wasn't it? 5-2, I believe.
You're coming in and you're playing against a bunch of young guys who are fit, ready, organized, and it's like that horse that takes off in the beginning of the race. And they did take a huge step, and a lot of teams underestimated them. But
a lot of pickups from Queen's University too, weren't there, on that team they signed in the offseason? So Lauren Abagov, owner, just very passionate about it, and they went through their growing pains last year, but we're seeing the fruits of their labor this year. So
100%.
Yeah, good for Kingston. Okay, Croatia, very interesting, of course. 2-time defending CSL champs. Croatia, just a powerhouse team. They always bring it every year. This year, it was just the usual suspects. Everything started off as usual with Croatia. They were on top. They hadn't lost a game. The past week has seen some very interesting developments, starting with a tie with Astros Vasas last week, in which Croatia were down 3-0 in the first half and had to have a fantastic comeback, epic comeback, to make it 3-3 and tie it up. And then Wednesday, I thought they were going to come out like gangbusters against St. Catharines with something to prove. St. Catharines, although they've had some good games this year, of course, towards the bottom of the standings, and they dropped a 2-1 decision to St. Catharines. Phil, what's going on with Croatia?
Well, there's multiple things. Here's a team that had a great, successful season last year, won the championship and won the league division, right? And now 2 years in a row CSL champions. It's tough to do a three-peat. Could they do it? Yes. But if you look at last year's season, right about the middle point, at the same time, they hit a little dip. 2, 3, 4 games they fell, but they picked themselves back up. Expect them to do the exact same thing. They have quality. They have the depth. What ends up happening is against Astros, sometimes you go in a little bit more relaxed than you anticipate. Down 3-0 at half, boom, come back and tie it 3-3. St. Catharines, that game there, never easy to go into St. Catharines and play over there. Yeah. Tough loss for them. The first loss of the season. Something for them to really take time to look in the mirror and say, you know what, guys, we've lost, how many is that? 5 points out of 6 in 2 games. Drop us in the standings. We're not in first no more. Let's get ourselves back on track. They will.
For anyone who lives in the St. Catharines region, if you haven't been out to see a Roma game, it's unbelievable. Just a great old club, a great atmosphere, passionate fan base. A lot of them have been going to these games for years to watch Roma play. It's really a great place to watch a game on Wednesday nights when they play their home games. By the way, that game against Croatia, we've shown the footage, absolutely intense, a straight red, almost a brawl at the end of the game. A very skillful game, but at the same time very physical as well. 2 teams that don't like each other very much. Let's move on to Brampton. Brampton, who were a real interesting story last year because Brampton were one of the top teams in the league. They were top 3 for a little bit there. And then they ended up losing a few of their CIS players, didn't they? Including Milo Sampanovic, who, of course, was their top scorer last year. And it just killed the Brampton offense. And it really rattled the team, and they couldn't recover from that and didn't even squeak into the playoffs last year. So this year, everything seems to be looking like they're on the rebound now.
I think they're well organized. Again, goes out to their new coach, Juan Barreto, and ownership, Mike DiMatteo. Really, focus and put the team in place. Again, had a tough loss the first game of the season. Realized, hey guys, you know what? We need to be committed, we have to be focused, and we have to get ready. And they have been. They've been on unbeaten streak for the past 8 games.
Yep.
They're actually by points if they win the next game, beat them first. So points per game, they're there to be the top team. But it's going to be a battle right to the end of the season. Losing a couple of players last year to CIS made a huge difference because those are the guys who were expecting to score goals.
Absolutely.
Now they have a lot of depth. You're talking about Dave
Guzman,
Velastegi coming in and
yeah.
making a huge impact, and their defense are organized. And the big acquisition, which I think is going to be the turning point for them and why they're going to be a team challenging for the championship, was Camilo Benzi.
Yep.
Coming from the shooters, I think top
Great
2
goalkeeper.
goalies in the league by
absolutely.
far. He gives them a structure and control in the back that you need. It all starts from the defense. Goalie's number 1 position, and he's one of the top class keepers in the league, and watch out for them this year for sure.
And we don't want to get into too much, but obviously playing with some inspiration this year after the passing away of Armando Costa, their head coach last year.
Yeah,
So-
Armando was an inspiration to us all. And, if there was someone who loved the game, had a passion, I think we all felt it through his eyes, and the game lives through us, through him and his passion, and we're going to make a difference for soccer going forward for Canada. And all those players in Brampton understand because his commitment every game, every practice, was inspirational. So I think this year, these guys are fighting for him.
For Armando.
And so there's a little bit more than just the passion to win. There's it's a higher level as well.
Yeah. Okay, moving on now. Burlington, first-year team. Some growing pains, but also some big wins already. And this is a team that's got some significant talent. They're not just a bunch of CSL rookies on this team. Some pretty good experience there, Phil.
Well, they picked up some quality players, and one player that I've known for a while and actually came to Canada in 2006 was Junior Hernandez. Speed, fast, can score goals, left foot, right foot, has so much ability. So, you pick up him. They picked up Nicholas Lindsay from TFC. So you're talking about players that are very good, can make a difference in the game in an instant. So, they're going to be there, giving the challenge to every game, to any opposition. So watch out for them trying to sneak into the playoffs and make a little run.
All right, quick mention for Astros Vashes, who had a pretty poor start to the season. They were just trying to get their bearings, of course. The old North York Astros team merging with Vashes, a Hungarian club in Toronto, who actually has roots back to Budapest. And there was a lot of excitement surrounding this club. Slow start, but coming on lately with a tie against Waterloo, a win against Serbia, and they nearly took down Croatia, as we mentioned last weekend. So kudos to Astros Vashes, looking like they're on the up.
Well, that's 5 points in 3 games. At the playoff point right now, it looks about 10 to 12 points. So 1 or 2 wins, and all of a sudden they're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And again, it takes time when you have a transition like that. Astros been around for a long time, a club with a lot of history. Again, the ownership there, has a lot of passion and wants to make the game better in North York, and that kind of partnership, I think, was a great move. There is the Hungarian flavor in there, and I tell you, there's some quality players that come from that heritage, and it will be an interesting year for them. Hopefully, they can sneak in there because they haven't been in the playoffs for a little while.
Yep. Okay, and let's just finish up with Niagara. Actually, Niagara, who last year, this is sort of a surprise this year, I'd say, because Niagara, tough start to the season last year, really came on from the midpoint on, which could be a beacon of hope for them, but ended up making the playoffs. They did lose in the first round, but they gave Croatia all they can handle. This year, Niagara just, I'm just checking their win totals here. Niagara's got, 1 win on the season so far. A bit surprising for James McGilvery's club.
Well, the positive part is that, again, couple wins, 2-3 in a row, and all of a sudden they're in that 10 to 12 point, like I mentioned, playoff spot, right? So they had a little struggle. 10 games in, 1 win. It's not, the start you want, but hopefully they can gain momentum from last year's success, making the playoffs first year, giving Croatia, like you mentioned, all they can handle. So very close to getting to the next round. So something to see again. Anthony and James McCalvary, the coach, have a lot of passion inside of them. So
Yeah.
I can see them trying to turn things around very quickly.
Yeah, and Niagara, again, I know I said the same thing about St. Catharines, but you got to go to a game in Niagara on Saturday night. They really do a great show. They got the cheerleaders at halftime. They got the brand new $100,000 scoreboard. It's a great place to watch a game on a beautiful Saturday summer evening. Phil, that's our little mid-season look right now, and it's been an interesting season so far, and it is going to be great to see what happens down the stretch. And I'm looking forward to a turnaround from Niagara, because to me, Niagara, they've got a lot of the players they had last year. I think we're going to see Niagara come on a bit in the second half. What's your prediction for what you think?
You know what? I'm thinking hopefully they can, figure out what the weak spot is for this past, 2 months of the season,
Yeah.
first 10 games. Again, the only one I like to see turn around little things around is Serbian White Eagles.
Yeah.
I think we didn't touch on a little bit,
Yeah.
but here's a team with history, always making the playoffs. All of a sudden, they're in second last place. It's going to be a battle of a bunch of teams trying to get out of the basement.
Yeah.
And I could see all those teams there pushing in the next 2-3 weeks between Serbia, Astros, Niagara to get out of that part and into that playoff spot.
All right, Phil, thanks so much for being here, buddy.
Fantastic. Always a pleasure.
We'll do it again soon. Thanks for watching CSL TV. And just remember, folks, for all the latest CSL news, stats, up-to-date standings, and, of course, highlights of all the CSL games, go to CanadianSoccerLeague.com. Thanks for watching.